Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. We're playing in the hardcore solo self-found Bestiary Flashback League as a Necromancer that summons things and phantasms. This is another voiceover episode rather than one with direct commentary, because for some reason my microphone disabled itself during the recording. So we're gonna do a Zana mission here to reset the map inventory that is available to us, and we're gonna get a cage map in which we have to complete another master's mission. We get harbingers, we get nemesis, and we get breaches as flashback mods, but we also get vulnerability and elemental weakness. Monsters are hexproof, and we get Haku. So yeah, disabling my enfeeble aura. It's not really doing anything against hexproof monsters, but no extra mana available. Just makes it a little easier to just keep casting things. And yeah, with that, we are ready. Should just be very careful. I've got curse removal on my granite flask, so I'm just gonna try to put that one up where possible. And step back, not take too much damage if I don't stand all the way in front. The granite flask, it doesn't recharge too quickly. It now needs 30 charges to get a sip back. So against smaller packs, it's probably better to not drink it and just tank it out a little bit. But of course keep a hand on the button to trigger it if things turn out to be a little bit more dire than expected. So the map here, the cage, is relatively straightforward. It's normally a low tier map. Tier 2, tier 3, something along those lines. In the Zana mission here it's a tier 3 map. But it's relatively linear. Not a lot of branching, relatively narrow, small rooms linked together. So for our purposes here, it should be relatively fine, since we can keep control of the situation. And now in this case, I'm standing in the doorway, I take a couple of hits, and then all the minions get summoned, and suddenly I have a very strong presence in the room. So red beastie in the bottom left. But there's a couple of other nemesis mobs that need to die first. What is the nemesis? Ah, it's a spider. Always spiders. I think there's some explosion stuff going on. I just stick my monsters on it and mostly just try to stand back. Funny enough, the two curses that are active are for physical and elemental damage. They're not for chaos damage. So I don't take extra damage from the red legendary beastie mods, but it's already doing a lot of damage, so I'm very happy for that fact. So here we have Haku, the objective of the Zana mission. Down here we don't have all the area things active, but we do have an extra level. So things are a little stronger here. But so far, so good. Both myself and the monsters are holding up relatively well. So I'm very happy that this is not a timed mission. That way we can just take relatively careful. Let's just push into rooms, clear them, then push forward. The totems with the trap things, not that big a deal. Ooh, Archon Kite Shield, potential crafting target. It's better than what I currently have, at least in terms of bases. So far enough in that we should get relatively close to the totem, and indeed, or to the spirits, and indeed the minimap now shows it. Little Temple Guardian. I'm gonna walk around a little bit to get to where we need to be. Put some corpses up, just in case. And indeed the bone offering triggers. Get some teleporting totems. They have the potential to be rather dangerous. Though we have a lot of minions that take the attention of the teleporting totems and therefore prevent them from concentrating on myself and therefore being very lethal. The way back here we get lovely little lightning beacons. They don't hurt too much. Though of course it's lightning damage, so there's a bit of a variability to the amount of damage that you take from them. But most of the time they're not really likely to kill you. Now we're back in the place with the dual curses, and we've got to be careful again. So quite a lot of nets that drop. Though that is a theme that will continue. There's more nets that drop than I can actually spend on catching beasties. In part that is of course because my minions have a habit of killing beasties before I have a chance to throw the nets. So after we're done with this map, we should get access to a new Zana shop inventory, so we can buy some new higher tier maps. And then after that we can run some of those higher tier maps. And the plan is now I'm just sitting down for one large recording session. Though of course no voice over me knows what's going to happen for the remainder of the evening. But I'm not telling just yet. You just gotta see it one episode at a time. But no, the plan is to just push the map as aggressive as possible. More aggressive than I've ever done, I think. In order to see just how far we can get here. Well, oh, for that I do have to first survive the encounter, and that one looks really hyperactive. Soul Eater. It ate a lot of souls, but rather than being all sluggish and completely stuffed to the brim, it's instead just being really hyperactive. But those, it is a nice change of pace. Every once in a while, getting a Soul Eater that really stuffs itself. They make for interesting encounters. Dangerous potentially, but interesting. So the layout of the cage roughly resembles a figure 8. And I think we're now on the bottom side. We're just bending back down. And obelisk, herald of the obelisks, things like that. It's one of my least favorite bloodline mods. And it just doesn't go away, and especially in this case the bloodlines boss beastie is probably on the other side of the totem, so I just have to make a run through it. Which, well, just look at how my health interacts with it. Understand why I'm less than amused by it. And then of course we run into a pack of harbingers, but luckily the bloodlines thing died, so it's just the harbingers now, and there is a breach on the very right side of the minimap. So after the harbinger we can run ourselves a breach. This map is surprisingly filled with interesting things that really go out of the way to try and murder me. I mean, dual curses, then you get harbingers, then you get breaches. It's definitely not a boring map. Scaly chainmail, that's level 70. That also looks like a good crafting base. Just clearing out a little bit of the space around the breach so that we can do the fight all by itself. And that proved to be a good idea, since there are harbinger things in the bottom right here. It sounds like a really bad idea to try and take on a harbinger while also doing a breach at the same time. That really seems like a suicidal idea. Oh, something, nemesis, something. It's also a yellow beastie. And let's just get out of there. And okay, the beastie killed itself, but I don't mind too much. I survived. That's the most important measure here. Some of my zombies are biting in the dust. So let's see if we can just go in via another angle and tackle the problem. Okay, another explosive enemy. And there is the sound of currency drops that signals the end of this fight. But of course, there will be more fights. Secondary helm, that's skull head. A summoner helmet. Gives you your minions a chance to block. Gives some armor, more health regen. 2% more life regen per second. And on top of that, you as the player get some elemental resist, some life, some mana. It's armor evasion based, relatively low level. So it's a bit of a disconnect with what I'm playing. Also in terms of coloring the sockets, it's going to be more difficult to get a blue-red out of this one, since 3 out of the 4 will not be the correct color. So now it is time for the breach. And yeah, there's just no way to prepare for it. Well, you could put down some corpses, but you just gotta do it. So this looks like a toll breach. There's a lot of cold stuff going on. Cold rolling. It's either a calm sign or a Sibyl's Lament, I think. And I actually managed to trigger a hand. Don't get that all that often. But in this case it looks like my minions are pretty much in control of the fight, and the damage output is larger than the spawn rate of new enemies coming in from the edge of the breach. Which in this case I guess it's a good thing that this map is relatively small, indoors, not open. Sibyl's Lament. So it's damage reflection reduction at the expense of reduced rarity of items found. So if reflect is really still an issue for you, then that ring could be a solution. I mean, if this were an open map, then of course we could have gotten breach mobs streaming in from all sides rather than just from very, very narrow entry points. So just having a look at what's gonna be next, and I decide gonna go for Constitution. Just getting a little bit more life on myself sounds like a very good idea to survive, especially combined with my plan to really aggressively push for higher map tiers. Having a larger life pool is going to be helpful, especially now I've got a lot of energy shield, but in the more busy fights that energy shield is going to disappear and I cannot rely on it. So just having a very large life pool is going to be very, very helpful in the more extended boss fights. Okay, just life is draining quite a bit there. That's maybe not the best of things to do. Just getting a little bit annoyed with the items, but just deciding, no, let's just ignore those items. I mean, if I'll be playing for one more evening, then nope, I don't really have to build up a large amount of currency. I don't really... There's not going to be any major crafting sessions where that currency is going to be helpful. Instead, I'll just push forwards. I'll just pick up some items and then put them in my stash. But this is mostly going to be about finding maps and some currency for upgrading maps, and that's going to be it. Executioner, a Bloodwing. So decent chunks of physical damage early on, not tanking it there with the granite and basalt flasks. Now it's just better to stay back. He spawned some add-ons, which is helpful, because of course that helps me fill up my flasks again. But in the end, no, standing at a distance was all that was needed. Zana's happy, I'm happy, and now we can shop again. But before that, no, let's empty my pockets, stash all the things, and I think I put a bit of currency into the stash. Yeah, exactly. Little shards. And let's get the fragments back and put them in the fragment stash, the splinters. Then how are we doing in terms of nets? I think we have 4 tiers of nets now, which is maybe a little bit too much. Simple steel nets can be useful up until map tier 3. After that, it is helpful to just get rid of them. But yeah, it's just a lot of maps. Let's see, what does Zana have? Dungeon, tier 1, we have it. Iceberg, I like it. It's tier 3, we don't have it yet. Relic Chambers, tier 4, don't have that one yet. Sulfur Vents. Okay, so let's grab that one. There's just 1 copy of each for now. And yeah, we just ran a tier 3 map. So next up is going to be the Iceberg map. Monsters fire additional projectiles and I gain reduced flask charges. Have to be a little bit careful with my flask management, but that's going to be alright. So we got Onslaught and Bloodlines that I could potentially craft on it, but for now let's hold off on that. And let's see what is Flashback gonna give us. I know one of them. The other mods I forgot about, but one I remember, and that one is Beyond. Also, we get Harbingers, which synergizes very well, and we get a Breach, which also synergizes very well with Beyond. This is the map I've been waiting for, I've been hoping for. It's just a single Beyond. Just a single Beyond. But it's all maps, there's decent pack size. And there's both Harbingers and Breach. So all the conditions are set up in a way where greater demons can be summoned. For now, though, let's clear the space around the breach a little bit before we actually open it. Let's see, am I gonna clear more? No, we're just gonna open it. And instantly I get overwhelmed with monsters. So this looks like Ash Breach, lots and lots of lightning stuff. And I decide let's not be in the center, also taking a lot of damage there. Really taking a lot of damage there. Some lesser demons have been summoned here. Because those lightning flashes are not natural. And it looks like that is a Bameth, Shifting Darkness, one greater demon. Also known as hello and welcome to the map. So Bameth, with the changes to Val Detonate Dead in a recent expansion, I think it was before this one. The Val Detonate Dead, it's now more like a wave of exploding corpses rather than all corpses exploding at once. Which makes it a lot less of an insta-kill thing. I think under the old Val Detonate Dead mechanics, I probably would have died because I was smacked down in the middle. And so were all my minions. And I probably would have just been murderized. This case, damage was a little bit more gradual. And that was it. Okay, so I think this is the point where I realized, like, wait, why is the microphone meter on my recording software not moving? So yeah. A little bit confused, but luckily the voiceover for me is here to rescue. So yeah, I'm still a bit of a mystery as to why this episode did not have microphone volume to begin with, because the episode that I recorded before it did have it, and I didn't change nothing about the setup. So yeah, just randomness. Ghosty goes down, and we move over. So far we've got one greater demon dead. And we have a lot more content left to go. Okay, already got some demons coming out here, some smaller demons. Harbinger is still not showing any signs of stopping here. And that looked like a greater demon. That is Naem the Bending Stone. Also known as the Frog Demon. Jumps around trying to smash you to bits. So that's 2 demons down. It's only 12% pack size. It's not even that drastic, but it's I guess just a combination of the Flashback League mechanics here that really synergize well with Beyond. And the packs are relatively decent in size, so maybe that also has some effect on the Harbinger. Exploding Fireball, dodged it. And that breach was just really lucky that it was just such an insane amount of minions that spawned. Since breaches really are random in terms of just how much stuff comes out. Here you can really clearly see that the Scorpions do an underground attack that actually just moves through the ground, since you actually see the puffs of earth just kicking up.
Let me bend your ear for a minute.
There's one of the rare encounters with Vegan out in his natural Arctic habitat. But first let's clear a couple of the monsters around here before we go into that fight, because otherwise now you get out, you get snare trapped, less of a good experience. Some minor demons, can take those out. And then it is a Vegan o'clock. Though if prior experience with Vegan is any indication, he's not gonna last too long. It's got a simple fight time limit, but he gives me a minute. And he's down within 5 seconds. Yeah, for a duelist master, he's not that masterful. Though of course it's always easy to taunt him after you've defeated him. But I can't actually remember a time when Vegan was really in danger or a threat. Okay, so I'm trying to capture the beastie here, but failed. But luckily the enrage timer wore off before his life wore out, so I could actually throw another net and actually capture him. Okay, another Harbinger here. And of course, chaos explosions from the beastie, very dangerous. Okay, fighting at a less than ideal angle here, fighting downwards so you see less of what's happening. Repositioning a little bit for some more vision. Harbinger's gone, and then that's it. Getting a bunch more shards. Just trying to open up every trunk, every chest, hoping for some more map drops. So now after all, my goal is to get as far as I can with maps tonight. Another minor demon there. And it's onwards to the next island. And this looks pretty good. Just teleporting in here, taking a bit of a risk, but just hoping to push the fight a little further inland. So we benefit more from demons, and my efforts are rewarded. Satosh, the Hungering Flame. Master of Flame Blasts. Burner of zombies. He really burned most of my zombies. But again, another demon defeated. So now we've seen Bamef, we've seen Naem, and we've seen Satosh. We're not done yet with the map. So there's still potential for more, there's still hope. Okay, once again, lots of stuff and a Divine Vessel. Those are very rare drops. At least if I find one or two in a league, that's a lot. Finding one on my first night, that's a very, very lucky find. So, quality, Rogue Exile, sure, why not? Let's see what we can get out of this. Could have tried rerolling the Rogue Exile for multiple packs of Magic Monsters or something, but Rogue Exiles are nice as well. And there's a lot worse options, so for now I'm just sticking with it. Time van Heidoff, Sparker. But in the end, it wasn't enough. We did get one more Demon Portal, but you need 4 in total for a Greater Demon, so that was not gonna be it anymore. And the fences at the bottom indicate we are near the boss fight. Also, there is another breach here. Even though we had a breach, and we only get 1 guaranteed extra breach from Breach League. So this is the 10% chance to spawn an additional breach, which is very nice, since just happy joy on a Beyond map. So the boss here is a cold warbands boss with some minions. See the boss down there. So he's got spectral blades with greater multiple projectiles from the looks of it, since there's 5 projectiles. They go back and forth, slicing and dicing through my minions. So just resummoning a bunch. And in the end, the boss goes down. And I also defeated a warband leader for cold. I think there's an achievement if you manage to collect all of them. Oh, just like Pokemon. Only here, no, you gotta kill them rather than put them in funny looking balls. And then let's do this. One more breach. On top of a battlefield where fighting happened. Let's see if we can get another Greater Demon out of this. Looks like I've got battlefield supremacy here. Now this is the point where demons are gonna show their faces. Kind of messing with it. And look at that, enemies are fighting back quite a bit.
An orb of immense power.
My zombies are still up, but my health is maybe less amused here. And we have another Bamef Shifting Darkness. That makes Bamef the most commonly seen Greater Demon in my or in this series so far, because it's twice in this episode, and I believe we encountered him once more before. But luckily he got toned down a little bit, so he's not as dangerous as he used to be. So there's so much stuff on the floor, difficult to see what's helpful and what's not. And normally I'd pick up everything and just sell it, but here now there's just too much, so let's just opening up a portal, getting the heck out of here, and of course replenishing my zombies. And that was that. So I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time when we tackle more maps. Bye bye.